What's up, y'all? Deb from Mtg. Little bonus content for you today. I thought I was going to get a little break until spoiler season for Wilds started, but then somebody in the comments section of our last video reminded me that I hadn't really covered Maro's teaser yet, and they really like when I do the teaser stuff, so I should do that. Apparently this was posted 5 days ago, and I somehow missed this information. Maybe I was playing Pokemon or something, but Maro did do a teaser for Wilds of Eldraine. Outside of all the stuff they've already teased for the set on multiple occasions. I thought maybe we weren't going to get a teaser because, he'd already teased a bunch of stuff. I was wrong. He did do a teaser. And this one, not quite as cryptic as some of the ones that he's done in the past, in my opinion at least. But there is some juicy stuff in there, so let's go ahead and get into it. All right, I think he's basically copying pasting the intro for every teaser blog talk at this point. Before the previews of Wilds of Eldraine officially begin, I thought it would be fun to do another of my duelist style teasers where I give hints of things to come. Note that I'm only giving you partial information. I'm pretty sure the last 2 teasers is exactly that same block of text, just with the set name plugged in. But anyway, let's get to the actual bits here. First up, here are some things you can expect. All right. That's how Maro talks. That's, if in case you've never heard him before, that's not how he talks. Actually, it's kind of like a Muppety voice, so it's not unpleasant once you get used to it. But anyway, a new type of token, at least done with a cohesive theme. So, quick word here. I have not looked at the leaks outside of 2 cards. I have seen 2 cards on Twitter. And funny enough, they were cards that were brought up here, which is probably why I saw them on Twitter. The whole internet is connected. But in any case, a new type of token. I don't know what this is, but the fact that it's done with a cohesive theme makes me think that it's going to be some kind of enchantment token of some kind, I assume, right? Because he's already said that this is going to be kind of an enchantment theme set. At least half of it. I don't know if that's going to be draft archetype specific or if they're really going to try to push enchantments in this set. We know that the bonus sheet is based on reprints of enchantments and stuff. So it wouldn't surprise me if this new type of token in this first bullet point here was definitely an enchantment token. I'm not sure they've ever done an enchantment token before. I can't call one to mind, but that doesn't mean anything. I'm sure somebody in the comments section has the one example ever, but to the best of my knowledge, I can't remember them having done that, so it would be a cool thing to do. But we move on to a card that can activate to copy enchantments. Who knows if it's gonna cost 7 mana or 2 mana? That's the problem with these teasers, man, is that you really just don't know if this is gonna be a good card or not. We already have something akin to this ability. Weaver of something. It's in some of the green-white enchantments decks right now. It's the one that lets you for a single green mana and you can tap it. The activated ability that lets you copy an enchantment's triggered ability, right? This is just better than that. You just copy the whole kit and caboodle, whether you're copying the enchantment spell that's on the stack or you can just copy an enchantment that's already on the table. Those are both pretty powerful effects. And the way this is worded, it looks like it's going to just be able to copy a thing that's already on the table. And that is super powerful. So it does make you wonder how much this activated ability costs. It's a card that can activate. So is it a creature? Is it another enchantment? There are enchantments. I know for a fact there are enchantments that have been printed that have activated abilities. Not too many, but there are some. And also, it's going to be an artifact. It could be a bunch of different things. But I do think that based on some of the other stuff in this teaser, we might be going for an enchantment heavy sub theme and then a little bit of an artifact sub theme too. Just a slightly, there's food tokens and stuff. So I think we're doing some stuff with artifacts in this set. So it wouldn't surprise me if it was an artifact that can activate to copy enchantments. And that seems like it would probably cost a good bit, either the activation costs a lot or the card itself costs a lot or both, who knows. But interesting idea, but we'll have to see how this shakes out once we actually see the card. Adventures on a new permanent type. In the video where I talk about the top 10 new original cards that I want in Wilds of Eldraine, I put an adventure on a planeswalker. Now, it's not going to be a planeswalker because they've already said that we're only going to get one planeswalker per set for a while here into the future. And we've already seen that planeswalker. It was officially spoiled. It's not a leak. It's Ashiok. It's right here on the screen somewhere, probably. I don't know. Maybe I'll remember to do that when I'm editing the video. But in any case, we've already seen the one planeswalker from the set, so it's not that. So it makes me think that it's going to be, again, on an enchantment, right? That's the easy That's the easy call to make here because it's an enchantment set. But in a way, adventures make just as much sense, or even more, you could argue, on artifacts. Adventures, I've already done that one. An artifact, this bullet point, an artifact that has 2 different artifact subtypes normally associated with artifact tokens. So is it going to be a food treasure or a food clue? I think that's probably the 2 choices here. One of these is food. Maybe a food clue makes some degree of sense because the story has to do with food. Anyway, let's move on. It's probably food treasure. Sure. Let's go with that. A creature type from Alpha gets a draft archetype. This is one of the 2 most interesting things, to me at least, in the entire teaser. If you look over Alpha creatures on Scryfall, which I've got pulled up over here, you'll see there's some interesting ones, especially some ones that we've seen before, right? Like if they wanted to do unicorns or dwarves or trolls, those are all kind of within the fairy tale theme. But I'm hoping it's a creature type from Alpha that never gets a draft type. No one cares about it. It's never had, a theme deck or anything like that. So as far as picks for that, Pegasus sort of fits the fairy tale theme just a little bit, but not quite enough for me. Go. For what it's worth, it could also be Hero, but note that Banalish Hero has been errated now. Its creature type is Human Soldier. I'll prove it. So you click on it. Look at that. Human Soldier right there. Can you read that? No, it's impossible, but I'll just take my word for it. It says Human Soldier. If it doesn't, that would be just a lie like that. That would be a terrible idea. So it's what it says. But there's a few other creature types I want to look over real quick in Alpha. There's a couple in Black specifically that I think fit kind of well again with the fairy tale stuff, right? Like Wraith. Bog Wraith is still a Wraith, and like no one cares about Wraiths. Has there ever really been like a Wraith? Have you ever sat down across from somebody like, yeah, I'll play against my Wraith deck? No, I don't think you have. Same thing goes with Shade, which is actually an awesome creature. This used to be an iconic creature back in the day, and it's kind of garbage when you look at it now. But look how cool he looks, man. He looks so cool, and he's still just a Shade. That is not a creature type that we've ever really seen much love given to, and it's a cool creature type. And again, I think you could fit it into the fairy tale stuff pretty easily. Moving into red, you see Granite Gargoyle again, and pretty easy to fit into the fairy tale aesthetic. And we haven't seen much gargoyle action. There's a few gargoyles in Magic, but not enough. I think one of the only other gargoyles I can come up with off the top of my head is like Marble Gargoyle, which is always hard to say for me, but it's like basically just a take on Granite Gargoyle. It's just white, so color shifted, same card. If I remember my cards correctly, but it'd be nice to have a little gargoyle subtype. We also see rock down here. This Rock of Courageous is a rock, which is another thing again that might fit into the fairy tale thing here. Aside from that, the only thing I really see working from Alpha creature type wise that's like sort of new and we've never had like a focus on it before is Nymph and Basilisk, but I'm pretty sure that Shannon and Dryads is no longer a Nymph. No, it is a Nymph Dryad. It did get the creature type Dryad, so I doubt it'll be that. Basilisk, again, we've got a few of these, and it's still a Basilisk. It's not like a lizard or something like that. It has not been errated. It's still a Basilisk. So, again, very fairy tale-y, a Basilisk when you think about it. Although, are things like Nymphs and Dryads and Basilisk, is this too like Theros vibes? Is this too actually like mythology and not fairy tales? I'm not too sure, but I think you could do a Basilisk and fit it within the fairy tale theme. But I don't know that I have a favorite for all of these, but see, if I had to pick one, give me a second. Okay, so I've decided my top 3 is number 1, gargoyles. I think this is maybe the most likely thing to do is gargoyles. It just makes a ton of sense. Sorry for the scrolling. I also think that, by the way, you could do nightmares. We've seen them in the past. There's been a few nightmares. It'd be sick if they finally got a draft archetype and just hadn't brought it up yet. I love nightmares as a creature type. But then wraiths and shades, man. Something's calling me with these two. We have never really seen much love for either one of these, and like they both fit, especially wraiths. I really think we've seen a few in Magic, but never again any sort of focus on them. So I know I've spent a lot on this time on this like one bullet point, but again, I think it's really interesting to look at Alpha and be like, what creature type could it be? So those are my top 3: Gargoyle, Wraith, Shade. Let me know your take on this, because I think it's going to be one of the more discussed bullet points in the Blogatog. But let's move on from this. We're going to get Fairy Tale Sagas. See how much time can I actually spend on Fairy Tale Sagas? You know what I mean? Oh, Fairy Tale Saga. Okay. Well, okay. Is it going to be named after fairy tales, or like How's that going to work? Either way, could be neat. I guess we'll see how they do that. A little Red Riding Hood, but it's a saga. And then in chapter 1, she gets to grandma's house. And then in chapter 2, okay, so chapter 1, create a food token. Chapter 2, create a 2/2 wolf token. Chapter 3, fight, something like that. We just made a little Red Riding Hood saga. See, it works like that. Goldilocks, create a 1/1 green human creature token. Step 2, create 3 food tokens. Step 3, create 3 2/2 bear tokens. This is easy. Yeah, that's what they're doing. Okay, so multiple legendary foods is the next thing here. Again, there's going to be sentient food. It's fighting. It's like an unset, but I guess they thought it would be fun. Look, let's just have fun. Let's not look at uncards in our standard and be like, "Ooh, this is dumb." Let's just be like lighthearted. Let's just have some fun for once playing Magic cards. It's a game. It's a hobby. Let's have fun. So, legendary foods might actually be kind of cool. I've already wondered, like, my number one card that I want to see in this set is some version of like Ginger Brute's lady friend that he's getting married to before he gets carted off in the trailer. I really want her to be in this set, and I assume she's going to be one of these. So. Actually pretty stoked for that. A new card with a lobotomy effect, in case you're new around these parts. Lobotomy is something that looks at your hand, graveyard, and library and gets rid of all the copies of a thing that you're targeting as well. So they printed one of these every like 5 or 6 sets for the last 20 years. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not. They're usually pretty good sideboard cards, but not quite main deckable. But you never know what version of this effect you're going to get, how strong the front end is, or if it's on a body, or like, what's going to happen with it. So could be good, could be bad. Typically, lobotomy effects are at least worth looking at to pinpoint specific cards in a format. So, get rid of all the Shieldrids or something. Seems okay with me, right? But there are a lot of 1 and 2 and 3 ofs in this format that, like, a lobotomy effect like this isn't as good against. Like, I can get rid of all your Wandering Emperors, but you only play 2, so. We'll see how good it is. A creature, everybody, with 2 triggers, one for artifacts entering and one for enchantments entering. So this is what makes me think we're going to have the, enchantment sub-theme and then another light artifact sort of sub-theme, maybe for draft or something. But if this is a legendary dude especially, then I imagine he's going to be a commander that I want to play. Seems like you might be spreading yourself thin if you want a deck built around both artifacts and enchantments. It's like you run the risk of that, but still, I think it could be cool, This could do anything. Like, who knows what the trigger actually does, but I will say a dude that triggers when artifacts or enchantments ETB and, like, does 2 different things, like, okay, yeah, we're cooking. Like, I at least want to see what comes out of the kitchen, What are they going to put on my plate? That's what I want to know. So, could be really cool. Could be, like, super slow and underwhelming, but that does get the creative juices flowing. I want to know more, but let's move on to the last of these items here, and this is the one that makes the least sense to me, but it's the second most intriguing thing in the entire sort of teaser. A new mechanic that batches together 3 items that have been in the game since alpha, but never batched before. What are you talking about, items? What does that mean? 3 items? Like creature types? 3 card types? Like artifact, enchantment, creature? Somehow they've never been batched before? Like, maybe, am I just being a big dumb cough? Like, am I just being a stupid? Like, what is this? What does that mean? I know he's being purposely vague. It's kind of the Marky Mark thing to do, but I'm still, like, super confused by this. A new mechanic. It's a mechanic that batches together 3 items that have been in the game since alpha, but never batched before. So, like, it's a mechanic that cares about 3 different, again, like, what, card types? I want to take longer on this, but I just have no clue, man. Like, life totals, cards in hand, and creatures in play. Like, what are you talking about items, dude? I just don't know I don't know what you mean sometimes, dog. Mark, I just wish you could be more clear, but obviously you can't. So let's move on. Next, here are some rules text. Just let me know what this is. If you have some sort of, like, thought on this, let me know, because I'm completely lost. But here's some rules text that will be showing up on cards. Stop me if you've heard this one before. If a permanent entering the battlefield causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, the ability triggers an additional time. So super Panharmonicon, permanent entering the battlefield causes a permanent of a thing. Like, it's just, doesn't matter if it's land, creature, planeswalker, artifact, whatever. Everything triggers an additional time. It's Panharmonicon, but a super one, it costs 7. Maybe they just reprinted Panharmonicon. I have no idea. I don't know what they did here, but obviously that is a bait. That is bait right there. Everyone's going to look at that and be like, ooh, but My question at this point is like, are you overdoing it? Like you printed Panharmonicon like for 3-4 years ago, and then you printed something else. You printed Elish Norn, and now you're printing this, and it's just like, man, come on. How many of redundant, versions of this effect do we need? Stop. Just maybe space them out over a larger period of time is all I'm saying. But this next quote is, look at the top 20 cards of your library. That's a lot of cards, man. So many, which makes me think, conversely to what you might think when looking at this line of text, the card is actually not very good. Look at the top 20, seems like it probably comes with a pretty hefty drawback, whether it's I don't get anything you actually want, I don't actually create card advantage, or I cost 1,000,000 mana, so we'll see. We'll see, but this one's screaming like subpar, but it's probably the best card in the set, so we'll see. The next one is, it produces 3 times as much of that mana instead. Again, like this is bait. This is bait text. It produces 3 times as much of that mana instead. So is it when you tap a creature, when you tap an artifact, when you tap a land, What is it? And again, how much mana does this cost? Is it a repeatable effect? Or is it just like an instant that costs a couple of mana whenever you tap a land for mana, it produces 3 times that much mana till end of turn? Again, these like, here's some text on cards, they never impress me. Because like this could be the most booty card in the set. Like we have no idea. This card could be stank booty hole, and like who knows, So we'll see. But this could also, again, conversely on the other side, this could be legacy playable because look at this line of text. So we'll see. So we'll move on to sacrifice all reflections you control. There's gonna be reflections in the set. What does that mean? I don't know. Seems kind of cool. This though, there's a couple of these in this, like, here's some card text examples that make me think it's actually kind of self-contained, right? Like this is on a card that creates reflections, and there's not a whole lot of other reflection cards in the set. Like maybe this is on Evil Queen, right? This is on Evil Queen because she does stuff with the magic mirror. So maybe it is the magic mirror itself, and it creates reflections, and you sacrifice them to do a thing because that's sort of on theme when you think about it, with the magic mirror, Snow White, Evil Queen stuff, right? Like, who's the fairest? And it shows you somebody else, so you sacrifice that reflection so that you're the fairest. And I can see sort of how the flavor might play in. So, again, wild speculation, but it might be something along those lines. And if it is, again, I assume this is a sort of self-contained card that creates reflections. But let's move on to creatures you control with +1/+1 counters on them have all activated abilities of all creatures exiled with card name. This actually doesn't excite me that much. This looks like a bunch of setup. This looks like work to me. And anytime I look at a card and I'm like, God, I gotta punch a clock to play this thing. I just to brew around it. You know what I mean? Seems like a day at the office, and I'm not sure. But let's move on. There are some cards I see and I get really excited about brewing around, and like some that I don't. And for some reason, +1/+1 counters are never inspiring. And then you have to like play stuff that has abilities, and I don't know. A lot of like different stuff has to come together in deck building. And I can tell that without even seeing the card, but I'm pretty sure it's a +1/+1 counter theme, and it's got multiple turns in play, and you have to have abilities on your guys, and it's just everything. I don't know, man. It's a little much, but let's move on. Have base power, toughness, 4/4, and flying. Yawn. Okay, cool. The next one is exile up to 1 other non-fox creature. This is the other one that I think is probably like kind of self-contained. Like it's on a legendary thing that if it were able to exile itself, it would be broken somehow. So they had to do exile a non-fox, right? Land creatures you control. Again, kind of yawn. I don't know. It might be something awesome, but there are ways to make our lands creatures. There are multiple ways to do it in the format right now. Not to mention we're going to have like creature lands in this set. So maybe there's something we can do with this, but I just, this screams expensive bulk green rare that costs like 5 mana. So you got to impress me is all I'm saying. The next one is whenever you tap an untapped creature, an opponent controls. So again, I should have said there's at least 3 self-contained cards because obviously whatever this does lets you tap creatures your opponent controls. So unless it's on a mechanic of some kind, right? But it's, again, this looks like a legendary creature or an artifact or something that lets you tap their dudes down for something. So that could potentially be really, really powerful. We'll have to wait and see what that is. The next one is X is 2 plus the number of cards in your graveyard that are instant sorceries and or have an adventure. So some sort of draw X or deal X damage card. It might be something aside from those, but those are the bets that I'm hedging at this point. I'm gonna assume with this text, instants, sorceries, and or have an adventure, probably some sort of card selection. Look at the top X cards of your library, select 2 of them, and draw them right. And X is this line of text. That's my pick. But here's some creature type lines from the set. Mouse. We got a rabbit unicorn. So there's unicorn. There's confirmation that unicorn, maybe Maro has answered his own riddle. Because unicorn was in alpha. And we've seen unicorns before, but I don't know if it's ever been like a draft archetype, you know. But that might be it. Rabbit unicorn's a cool creature type. Fairy shapeshifter. That's probably Oko, everybody. Oko is both of these things, so it's very likely that that's Oko. We have an elf fox knight, so I wonder if foxes are a creature type in the set, or if this is the... How is he an elf fox? You getting a little freaky over there on Eldraine? But anyway... Maybe this is the thing that cares about not being able to exile a fox, or we'll see. Next is Giant Archer, which I think is actually just kind of funny. He's shooting tree trunks or something. I'm calling it. That's his arrows. It's like trees or something. That would be hilarious. Plant Worm. Okay, that's cool. Elemental Raccoon. Let's go. That's pretty cool. We got a legendary Rat Noble, which we've already seen. I think we've already seen the art for. We'll see. Next is a legendary Vidalcan Scout. That's right. They're using the Omen Pass. Those Vidalcans, right? They sent a legendary scout here, literally to scout on a reconnaissance mission, to scout on Eldraine and see what they can see. Man, Vidalcans always up to no good. Or something. Always looking for information. Those Vidalcans. We'll move on to a legendary human warlock bard. So, who's that? Who is that? Is that the lady from... Wait a minute. I hadn't really thought about this yet. I have read this at least once all the way through. This whole thing, this teaser. But is that what's her face with the funny name from Dungeons and Dragons? Is that who this is going to be? Or is she like a god? But like, she would have lost her spark theoretically, but she's not. Does she technically exist in the Magic the Gathering universe? Or is it still like that's Universes Beyond? But because Omen Pass, Universes Beyond stuff can show up, because that would be a weird precedent to set. I wonder if it's her, dude. Somebody's going to tell me what her name is in the comment section. Is it a her even? It's a bard. Hold on. Yeah, it's a lady. Eliwick Tumblestrom is her name. I knew she had a silly name. Yeah, what if it's this lady? Is this a lady? Eliwick Tumblestrom was known as the most powerful bard in the multiverse. She possessed a vast knowledge of many worlds across wild space. Through song and music's ability to manipulate hearts and minds, sentient. Okay, so it's like, what is she? Is she a human? Is she human? I think she's a human. She gained her powers from a wish spell, from a lucky draw, from her deck of many things. Okay, she's a person then. So, what if it's her? What if it's Eliwick? This thing, What if it's not? All right. So I spent too long on that rabbit hole. Let's move on to some names in the set. Candy Grapple. Again, this is they're just putting unsets in a standard set. I'm kind of here for it. We got Charming Scoundrel, not Charming Prince. I think this is going to be like a Charming Prince redux of some kind, but he's going to be a scoundrel this time. I think that's what's going on. There's no more court. Apparently the courts were all destroyed in the Phyrexian invasion, so now he's just like out there, I was going to say turning tricks. That's probably not the right verbiage to use. He's out there, he's being a con man. He's a scoundrel now. He's lost his position. And now he's a criminal. So I think that's going to be the story here. It's going to be cool. Hopefully, it's still like a 2-mana thing that has like 3 enter the battlefield abilities to choose from. That'd be awesome. But let's move on to Food Fight. Protective Parents, as well as Scream Puff. You get it instead of Cream Puff. So more food puns. You'd think I would love that. We got Stroke of Midnight, A Tale for the Ages, as well as 3 Blind Mice, 3 Bowls of Porridge. I wonder if my, because that looks like a saga to me, right? 3 Bowls of Porridge. And then 3 Blind Mice, that looks like a saga too. Tale for the Ages, that's definitely a saga. So yeah, those are up the beanstalk. Is that a saga? Could be. But at least a couple of these definitely are. I wonder if I nailed the Goldilocks saga. I guess we'll see. Kick off for the preview season for Wilds of Eldraine with the debut on August 15th, 10 a.m. Pacific time. That's 1 p.m. Eastern time on twitch.tv/magic, our official YouTube channel. Woo! So that means on Tuesday. All right, Tuesday. It is now Sunday night as I record this. Probably going to get the video up at like 9:30. So in about 36 hours, give or take, there's going to be brand new, officially spoiled, previewed, whatever, Wilds of Eldraine cards. And hope you'll be here for that, man. Subscribe if you're new, because now's your last chance, really, before preview season, to make sure you get those notifications in your inbox and know when we put out new videos. Be the first one to see the spoilers and all that stuff. Do that. Check out the Twitch. We're going to be doing at least one night of spoiler season, as usual, as is tradition, on the Twitch channel. So join us live for spoilers at least one night. Check that out. Follow us over there. It's free to do so. Hit me up on Patreon. AdSense has been, the ad rates this month have been really bad. Our views are up, but somehow AdSense is down. So would really appreciate some Patreon support. It's the most reliable way I get paid doing this, and I can keep doing it. So if you want to support the content, link in the description for all the stuff, plus links to all of our most recent videos if you want to gear up for spoiler season with some more content. But that is it for now. I got to cut this thing and get it out before like midnight. So love you guys. I'll catch you cats later. I'm Deb from The Place. Thanks for watching, Wizards. Spread love and be kind.